Alright guys, as promised, this is the part 3 of how to edit like MagnatesMedia in CapCut PC, just like this. So this video is brought to you by my homies on Patreon. If you want to be my homie on Patreon, you can check the link on the screen or the link in the description box below. Thank you so much for the support. Alright guys, let's go straight to it. So we're going to start with the background. We're going to bring in this image, just some clouds that I got on Google. So I'm going to provide you guys with all the materials. You can find it down there below. Download and practice along. So I'm just going to increase the size of it. Click on it, go to the right side and increase the scale a bit. Then we can just move it down, something like this. Now go to adjustment, click on it. And by the way, I'm using the Pro version now. A friend showed me how to get your hands on it. So I'll be making a video on that. Comment down below if you want to see a video on how to get the Pro version in any region. So we just scroll down, saturation, let's take it to 0. Then we're going to bring in this blue background, drag and drop on top of it. Stretch it to make it the same length for now. Go to video on the right side and let's increase the scale a bit. Now scroll down. On blend, let's turn it to somewhere 75% so we can see this cloud below it. So now we're going to bring in a grid line. Just drag and drop on top of all of them. Stretch it. So with that selected, go to the right side. On opacity, let's take it to somewhere 10%. And now we're going to bring some dust particles. This is it. Just drag and drop in the timeline. Let me make it the same length for now. And with this, it moves a bit fast for my liking, so I'm just going to slow it down. Click on speed and let's take it to somewhere 0.4. Then we can just trim it on this side. Now with that selected, click on video on the right side. Then on blend, let's take it to screen. So now we can have the particles on top of all of them. So the next we're going to bring in, he was using, I think, the logo of Walmart. The video was about Walmart. And I'm going to leave the original video from Magnet down there below. You can click and check on that documentary. They were using this logo, Walmart. So I'm just going to bring that in, drag and drop in the timeline. Let's make it the same length for now. And I totally forgot to show you guys. Let's just click anywhere in the timeline. Then go to modify. Make sure you have arrange layers turned on. It's going to make our life so easy. And then I'm editing on 24 frames per second. Aspect ratio, you can leave it at 16:9 since it's going to be YouTube. And then we can change the name here. Then performance, make sure you turn on proxy so it's not going to slow down your machine. When you're done, just click on save. So now we have the logo. Click on that. Let's reduce the size of it to somewhere 5% on the right side. Let me bring this down so you can really see it. Then go to adjustment. Let's reduce the saturation down to -50. Then on highlight, let's increase it so it can pop on the screen a bit. Now I'm just going to move it to this very point where these two lines meet on the screen. And when you look at Magnet Edit, it was rotating, so I'm going to do that rotation. Take your playhead to the starting of it. Make sure you click on the logo. Then click on video on the right side. We're going to make keyframes on rotation. Just click on rotate. Now let's go 50 frames forward. When you press shift and arrow forward, it moves 10 frames, so you can go 5 times. Then let's drop another keyframe on rotate. Before we work on the keyframes, I think we can stretch all this. It looks kind of short, so let's just stretch it for now. Now let's work on the rotate. With that selected, make sure you're on the second keyframe. Change this to -20. Then go another 50 frames forward and drop another keyframe on rotate. This time around, we're just going to make it +20 degrees. Now I can just copy these 2 keyframes because I want to repeat the same process. So I'll save some time. So click on that, press Command, click on this to select the 2. Command C to copy. Then this time around, let's go 40 frames forward. Command V to paste that keyframe on that side. Now I'm going to take it here, go 50 frames forward and drop it on that side. So now when you look at it, it has this slow rotation on the screen. If you want it to be rotating fast, you can move the keyframes closer to each other. Now let's make it a bit smooth. Click on that, Option K to bring the keyframe graphs out, then click on rotate. We're gonna make all the points auto curve, and I'm gonna be fast on this side. Now we're done, Option K to close that keyframe animation. Now we're gonna make a duplicate of that, and we're gonna fill all these points on this vertical line. So I'm just gonna press Option, drag upwards to make a duplicate. Then on the y-axis, I'm gonna bring it down. And by the way, when you press Shift and you click on any of these points, it's gonna move a bit faster. So something like this, I'm gonna drop it right on that point. Now I'm gonna make one more, and I'm gonna be fast, and I'm gonna fill all these points on the vertical line. So now we have something like this, rotating on each point on this vertical line. Now select all the logo that we did the rotation on. Then we're gonna make a compound clip, Option G. With that selected, make a duplicate of it, press Option and drag upwards. And then on the on-screen, we're just gonna move it to this very line. So we're gonna skip the one line, and then we'll move it to the next line. Now I'm gonna make a duplicate of that, and I'm gonna repeat the same process. And this is gonna slow down your machine, so we need to export that and import it back into CapCut. So I'm just gonna select all of this, and then I'm gonna move it to this lane. Select one of them, press Shift X to select that range, then go to export, let's name it, rotate, select where you want to export to, and I'm going to choose 1080p. You can choose 4K, it doesn't really matter. Then I'm going to leave everything like that, and I'm editing on 24 frames, so I'm just going to click on export. Now I'm just going to cancel this and cancel this. I don't need this anymore, so I'm just going to delete them. Then go to the folder where I have it, drag and drop in the timeline. Click on that. Then on the right side, click on blend. Let's change it to screen. So now when you look at it, we have one space in between all of them. And with that selected, I think with opacity, we can turn it down a bit to somewhere 40%. Now it's gonna play smoothly. And we're gonna do one more that we're gonna animate them to move on the screen. So we're just gonna bring the one we just brought in, drag and drop it somewhere here. We're gonna work on that. Click on that. Let's change the blend mode to screen. Then with that selected, let's make it 50% on the scale. Now we can just move it upwards. And when you're moving, make sure X stays 0. So we're just moving on the y-axis. Now let's make a duplicate of that. Press Option and drag downwards. Now with that one, let's just move it down to something like this. And still make sure X stays 0. Now we're going to export this tool because we might use a compound clip along the way, and it's going to make our life so easy. So let's just export this one. Select that, Shift X to select that range that we want to export. Go to export. Let's name it rotate. Same location and click on export. Now just cancel this and cancel this. We're just going to delete this one. We don't need it anymore. And go to the folder where we have it, drag and drop in the timeline. So now with that selected, just like we did previously, let's go to blend and turn it into screen. Then scroll up on scale, let's change it to 200%. It's gonna move to exactly the same place. Now we can just use the on-screen controls and move them to the next line. Then just like previously, opacity, let's take it to somewhere 20 or 30%. So now we're going to animate that to be flowing on the screen, and this is what we're going to do. Take your playhead to the starting frame of it. With the on-screen controls, we're going to move it upwards. Let me move it to somewhere here. Make sure you don't change the figures on x-axis. So mine was 223. So I'm going to leave it so it will stay exactly the same place. Then I can make a keyframe on position. Then let's take our playhead somewhere ahead to something like this place. Then on that side, I'm just going to move the on-screen controls downwards to something like this. So I'm going to move till the top starts showing and make sure X stays the same, 223. So now when I play and show you guys, it's gonna be flowing just like that, and Magnet was using that style. Now let's make it a bit unique. So we're gonna click on that and I'm gonna show you the trick. Go to mask, select horizontal. Now let's just rotate it to minus 90 degrees. Then let's make a duplicate of that file, press Option and drag upwards. With that file selected, we're gonna rotate it to 90 degrees. So that's gonna be this half and this is gonna be the other half. Now with that same file selected, we're gonna click on the reverse icon. So now with the reverse icon, let's move the keyframes. So we're gonna move it to the starting of it. Let's check where this one was. It was somewhere here. So we're gonna move that keyframe to that place too. So now when you look at it, these ones are gonna come down and these ones are gonna go up and the rest are gonna stay just like that. This kind of tutorials usually takes a lot of time. So if you're really learning something from this or enjoying this, don't forget to subscribe and also comment down below. All right, guys, let's go back to it. So with the waves, we're gonna start from the scratch so you can use the same method or trick in your other edits. So these waves, I got it from Storyblocks or Machinery, I'm not really sure. Just drag and drop it on this very side for now. And it moves too fast for my liking, so I'm just gonna slow down the speed to somewhere 0.4. And when you look online, you can get so many cool waves that you can use for this very trick. So with that one selected, go to Adjustment on the right side, Saturation, let's take it down, and let's bring the exposure up a bit. Now let's just move it to the main timeline. Then with that one selected, go to Video, click on Basic, scroll down, click on Canvas, make sure you turn it on. Then click on this drop down menu, select Color, and let's open it up. Now I'm gonna select the green, so it's gonna pop out at the background. Now I'm gonna bring a yellow background. I'm gonna use this. This was the color I think Magnet was using. Let me stretch it and make it the same length as this. With that selected, let's crop the blue background off. So I'm just gonna crop it off and click on Confirm. Make sure you leave crop ratio to 3 and click on Confirm. And this was the logo or the icon I clicked on. With that one selected, go to the right side, turn off Uniform Scale so we can just increase the width of it. We're gonna use the blend mode, click on the drop down menu, and let's select Darken. So with the yellow background selected, I think we can make it pop a little bit. So let me go to Saturation. So now we're gonna export this one and import it back again into CapCut. So just click on the wallpaper, then Shift X, it's gonna select that range. Go to Export. Let's change the name to Waves 1. Same location, click on Export. Let's close this and cancel this. Now we can go to that folder and bring that file in. Let me drag it and drop it on top of all of them to somewhere here. Now with that selected, go to Video, then click on Remove Background, click on Chroma key, and we're gonna take the green out. We can reduce it a bit to somewhere 1. So you can see the green is closer to the yellow, so I think we could have used the blue for this kind of effect, but still we're able to get the yellow to pop out. So now we have something like this. Now we can delete this one, we don't need it. Now with that wave selected, let's use the on-screen control and move it down a bit to this side. So depending on how you want it to look like, you can work on that. Then we can make a duplicate of that, press Option and drag upwards. With the down one selected, we're gonna use the Y-axis, click on Video, and then on Y-axis, let's move it up a bit so you can see it on this side. Then on Opacity, under Blend, we're just gonna turn it down to somewhere 30. So now we can really see it. I think with the Y, I can go up a bit. Then let's make a duplicate of these two, select all, press Option and drag upwards. Now with that one selected, we're just gonna move it up and we're gonna rotate it to minus 180. and then we can move it up to this side. So now we have one at the top and one at the bottom. And now the title. This was really fun making the title. So we're gonna start by bringing in the sad emoji. I got this from Motion Array. Drag and drop in the timeline. Let's stretch it and make it the same length as all these files. With that one selected, let's reduce the scale of it a bit to somewhere 30. I can move it up to this side. I think I can go to 25. Then click on adjustment. We're going to start with exposure. Let's increase that. Highlight, let's do that. Shadows and also the white, so we can make it really pop on the screen. Then make a duplicate of that option and drag upwards. With that one selected, let's click on video and let's reduce the size of it to somewhere 15. Then we can move it to this side on the screen. I think we can go a bit down. And with that, we're going to animate that to go left and right. So take your playhead. This is it. So take your playhead to the starting of it. Then make a keyframe on rotate. Now we can go 15 frames forward. Make another keyframe on rotate. This side we can put somewhere 20. Then we're going to go 15 frames forward. Shift arrow will go 10 and then press arrow 5 times. And on that side with rotate, we're going to put -20 and it's automatically going to drop a keyframe on that side. So now we can repeat these 2 points on all of them. And what I'm going to do is just click on this, press command, click on this, then command C to copy, take my playhead to the second keyframe, then I can go 15 frames forward. Command V to paste, and it's going to paste the same thing. Now I'm going to repeat this to the end of this clip, and I'm going to be fast with it. So now we have something like this moving on the screen. So now let's make a duplicate of that one. Press option and drag upwards. With that one selected, we're going to use the X axis. Remember, when you press shift and use this button, it's going to move a bit faster. So I can just move it to this side. Or to make our life easy and make it on the same level, I think we can click on this and check where it was. It was -455. So let's click on this and let's change it to +455 so they can be the same on the screen. And now we're going to bring in the title itself. So with the title, we're going to start with the yellow background, drag and drop in the timeline, stretch it and make it long for now. With that selected, click on this resize. Let's trim off the blue. We just want to use the yellow. Confirm. Then go to the right side. Make sure you turn off uniform scale so we can use this to shape it nicely. So I'm going to go to something like this, and then I'm going to increase the width of it. Now let me bring in my text first. Go to text, drag default text in the timeline. Stretch it for now. With that selected, go to the right side, delete default text, and let's write what we want to write. And I'm going to use Monstrat font. I like that font a lot. Then I'm going to change the color of that to somewhere blue, and I think I'm going to turn it down a bit to this side. Now with this wallpaper, this is the background. I think we can increase the width a bit, so I'm just going to move it to this side. To not make you guys confused, let me start working on the text. We could have done this in Photoshop, but I just want to do everything in CapCut. So now I'm going to make a duplicate of this text. Press option and drag downwards. We want to place that one below this text. With that selected, go to your right side. Make sure you turn off uniform scale. We're going to use the height of it, so I can increase it a bit more to something like this. Now we're going to play this trick. Click on this yellow background, make a duplicate of it by pressing option and dragging upwards. Put it in between these two texts. With that one selected, we're going to use the height of it too, so we're just going to reduce the height a bit more, so I can go to something like this. So you can see what we are trying to achieve. Then I can work on the text too. So with Photoshop, I think you can get it much more cleaner, but we're going to use CapCut to achieve everything. Now we're gonna bring one line at the top and at the bottom. We're gonna make it easy with this wallpaper. Just drag and drop on top of all of them. Then go to mask, click on mirror, and let's just reduce it a bit. Now let's click on this reverse icon and work on it a bit more. Now we're not seeing the effect. I'm gonna show you guys very soon. Then go to basic. On scale, make sure you turn off uniform scale so we can increase just the height of it. I think I can go for something like this and start working with the mask. Now let's see what we have. So when I go up a bit, I can have it like this. Go back to basic and let's reduce the size of it. So we want to put it at the top and also at the bottom. Now I can go to mask and I think I can work with the size a bit. So now we're going to animate our image in, go to import, and this is Sam, the founder of Walmart. We're just going to drag him in the timeline. Stretch it and make it the same length as all of them for now. With Sam selected, go to video, remove background, auto removal, and we're going to use this stroke. Click on that. Sorry guys, we're going to use the solid one. Then with the size, let's just reduce the size a bit on that. With that selected, go to filters, click on this drop down menu, and I have mine somewhere here, but you can find it under mono and select black and white 3, drag and drop on the image. Now let's go to basic. Let's increase it a bit to somewhere 112. Take our player to the starting of it and let's make a keyframe on transform. Make sure you've selected Sam. Then we can take it to somewhere here in the timeline, make a keyframe on transform. And then we can reduce the size of it to 100. And I think I can move it down a bit to something like this. Now we can add animation to make it come from the bottom of the screen. Click on animation, scroll down. We're gonna use slide up and we're gonna take it to somewhere 0.8 seconds. So when this is coming in, we want this very text to go down on the screen. So we're gonna play this trick with it. So I'm gonna take it to somewhere here. So when these are gonna be playing this way, and then it will start coming in on the screen. Now make a compound clip of this whole text file, Option G. Let's trim the end of it a bit. Then with that selected, we're going to go to animation and we're going to select slide down. Make sure you select out and then we're going to choose slide down. So when this is coming in, it's going to go down. I think we can work on that a bit. And when it's going down, we want to add some blur to that very text and also motion blur. And with CapCut, we still don't have that. We're going to play this trick with this. Press Option and drag to make a duplicate. Then with the top one selected, go to Effect, click on this. I have mine on Favorite, but you can find it somewhere on Lens. We're going to add motion blur to the top one. Let's take it to somewhere here. On horizontal, let's take it to somewhere 52. Then with the strength, I think we can make it really strong. Then we're going to add blur to it too. With the blur, let's take it to somewhere 8. Now let's click somewhere on this very file. We're going to work with the opacity. Let's take it back a bit to somewhere here. Then with opacity, make a keyframe there and turn it to 0. Then take it to the last but one frame of that very file and turn opacity to 100%. So now it's going to have this blur when it's going down. So now when Sam comes in, he has some animations on this side and also on this side. We're going to do the same thing. So we go to somewhere here in the timeline and we're going to start with the calendar. Just drag and drop in the timeline. Let's stretch it and make it the same length for now. With the calendar selected, let's reduce the size of it. So I think I can go for somewhere 32%. Now we're going to select an image of it because when we drop one effect on it, it doesn't really come out clean. So before we do that, let's just make a duplicate of this. Press Option and drag upwards. With the down one selected, let's use the on-screen control and move it to something like this. Then go to Adjustment exposure 0, contrast 0. I think contrast we can take it back. Highlight 0, shadow 0, white 0, and also black 0. Then go to video, opacity, let's turn it down a bit. So it's gonna look like a shadow on that file. Now let's just select the tool, Option G. Then we're gonna select a freeze frame of it. So the effect later on is gonna work clean. Now I can stretch it and make it long. First, go to Effect and add Play Pendulum to that very file. Twist to 0, or you can leave it a bit to 5. Then strength, I'm gonna go down a bit on that. Then I'm just gonna use the on-screen control and move it to this side on the screen. Then go to Animation, click on In, and I'm gonna use Zoom In animation. And I'll leave it at 0.5 seconds. It's gonna come in this way on the screen. Then I'm gonna bring some text below this. So go to Text, drag default text. Just when this animation ends, we're gonna bring the text in, stretch it, go to the right side, delete default text, and let's just write any date. So today is July. I'm gonna go for Montserrat font. The color, I'm gonna go for yellow. Scroll down. I'm gonna add some shadows and then reduce the opacity. Now just reduce the size of it and let's put it on this side. Then make a duplicate of that, press Option and drag it to this side. With that selected, let's move it down, delete this date and write the date you wanna write, make it big, or let's reduce it a bit and increase the character spaces. I think I can go to somewhere +2 or +3 and make it a bit big on the screen. So now we're gonna animate the July 13th to come in nicely. Go to Animation and we're gonna use Type 2. And remember, you can choose any animation that looks cool to your eyes. Then we can increase somewhere 8 seconds, 0.8 seconds. So when that comes in fully, then this is gonna pop on the screen. Now let's go to this side, click on Import, and I'm gonna use this map. I got it on Motion Array, stretch it and make it long. Go to Adjustment, Saturation down, and I'm gonna increase the exposure a bit. Now let me just reduce the size, make a duplicate of that, just like we did previously. Click on this image, let's drag it to this side, go to Adjustment, and let's just reduce all these ones down. Then go to Video, Opacity under Blend, let's take it down to somewhere 28. Now let's just select this tool, Option J to make a compound clip. Then we're gonna select an image of it, make it the same length, and now we can drag that to this side on the screen. Then go to Effect, Play Pendulum, drag and drop on it. Twist, we can take it a bit to 4. Strength, we can go for something like this. Click on the file itself and go to Animation. We're gonna use, remember, Zoom In, just like the other one. Then let's just make a duplicate of this text. We're gonna use the same style, bring it here, click on this. Let's just move it to this side on the screen. Let's change the name of it. So I'm gonna use the city I'm in. Let me move it to this side and see. Then this very one, let's move that one to this side. I'm gonna change that to Finland, the country I'm in. Let me just reduce the size of it a bit. So you can just be playing around it and make it look nice. We check the date, this comes in, and this also comes in on the other side. Now we're gonna clean the background of it. He was using a blur effect. Go to Blur, and we just wanna blur this very background and also the emojis, but not the calendar and this. So go to the effect, I have it under here, but you can find it on Lens. Drag, blur, and drop it on top of the sad emoji. We don't want it to affect this text, remember, because this text is gonna go down already. So let's just drag it and make it long for now. And we want the blur effect to start somewhere when he's almost on the screen. So I'm just gonna drag it to that side. And with the blur selected, make a keyframe on this side. Then let's go to when he comes on the screen fully to somewhere here, and let's make another keyframe there. On that side, let me turn it to 20. Then let's use this arrow to go to the first one. Let's change that to 0. So when you look at it, when he comes in, the background is going to blur a little bit. If you want it to be really blurry, you can increase the second keyframe on that. And one last one, he was using an effect, camera shake. It was shaking a lot. So we're going to do the same thing. Let's just type camera shake on here. Click on this star, so it's going to add to your favorite. Now I'm going to drag that and drop it on top of all of them. Stretch it to cover it. Then with that selected, the range, I'm going to go down a bit. Just go with your preferred choice. With the speed, I think I can go to somewhere 7. So now I'll play and show you guys what we have so far. So from here, you can add some sound effect and add some transition so you can transition smoothly to the next scene. Now, if you want to know how to edit like pro YouTubers, you can check on this playlist. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.